Extreme weather has shaped the course of human civilization, ending harvests, toppling governments, and forcing entire populations to abandon their homelands. Some weather events in history were so extreme in scale or consequence that they altered the trajectory of human history itself. Today, we rank the 5 most extreme weather events ever recorded, judged by intensity, scale, and historical impact. Super Typhoon Tip, which peaked on October 12, 1979, is the most intense tropical cyclone ever measured by meteorologists and the largest in diameter. With a central pressure of 870 hectopascals, the lowest ever recorded in a tropical storm, and sustained winds of 305 kilometers per hour, about 190 miles per hour, Tip holds records that have stood for over 4 decades. Its diameter reached 2,220 kilometers, about 1,380 miles, wider than the continental United States from coast to coast. While Tip weakened significantly before making landfall in Japan, the resulting floods killed 99 people and destroyed over 22,000 homes. The records Typhoon Tip set have never been broken and may never be. It represents the outer limit of what atmospheric physics can produce in a tropical cyclone. The European heat wave of August 2003 killed approximately 70,000 people across 12 countries in under 2 weeks, the deadliest heat event in European history, and one of the most lethal weather events in 20th century Western history. France alone lost 14,802 lives, the majority elderly people living without air conditioning in buildings designed for cold winters, not extreme summer heat. Temperatures in Portugal reached 47.4 degrees Celsius, the highest ever recorded in Western Europe at the time. The disaster exposed catastrophic gaps in public health infrastructure, emergency response systems, and climate adaptation planning. The 2003 heat wave directly triggered the overhaul of Europe's emergency health protocols and became a defining moment in European climate policy, accelerating the timeline toward carbon neutrality commitments. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s was the most prolonged and ecologically destructive weather disaster in North American history. A decade-long drought that, combined with decades of poor farming practices, turned 400,000 square kilometers, about 154,000 square miles, of the Great Plains into a wasteland of blowing dust. Massive dust storms, called black blizzards, buried farmhouses, killed livestock, and made entire regions uninhabitable. Over 850 million tons of topsoil were stripped from the southern plains. 3.5 million people, primarily from Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and Colorado, abandoned their homes and migrated west in one of the largest internal migrations in American history. The economic devastation compounded the Great Depression, and the ecological damage took generations to partially reverse. The Dust Bowl fundamentally changed American agricultural policy, land management practices, and the role of the federal government in disaster response. The Galveston hurricane of September 8, 1900, remains the deadliest natural disaster in United States history, killing between 8,000 and 12,000 people, approximately a quarter to a third of the city's entire population, in a single night. A Category 4 hurricane with a storm surge reaching 4.5 to 6 meters, about 15 to 20 feet, inundated Galveston Island, which sits barely above sea level, without warning. Weather forecasters had downplayed the threat. In 1900, Galveston was the largest city in Texas and the 4th largest port in the United States, a city expected to rival New York. The hurricane ended that trajectory permanently. In the aftermath, engineers constructed a 16-kilometer, about 10-mile, seawall and raised the entire city's grade level by filling it with dredged sand. The Galveston disaster directly led to the establishment of the modern U.S. weather forecasting and hurricane warning system. The year without a summer, 1816, was the most globally consequential weather event in recorded history, caused by the April 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia, which released more volcanic material than any eruption in the past 1,300 years. Approximately 160 cubic kilometers of debris were ejected into the stratosphere, creating a volcanic aerosol veil that reduced global temperatures by 0.4 to 1 degree Celsius for over a year. In New England, June snowfall killed crops that had just been planted. In Europe, the coldest summer in centuries destroyed harvests across Britain, France, Germany, and Switzerland, triggering the worst famine to affect Europe in the 19th century. In China, cold weather destroyed rice harvests. In India, the disrupted monsoon weakened immune systems and enabled a cholera pandemic that killed hundreds of thousands. The climate refugee crisis from crop failure in Europe accelerated mass emigration to North America. The darkness of 1816 inspired Mary Shelley to write Frankenstein during a cold, sunless Swiss summer, one of the most famous weather-driven moments in literary history. From Typhoon Tip, the largest storm ever measured, to the year without a summer that cooled the entire planet and triggered famines across 3 continents, extreme weather doesn't just kill people. It reshapes civilizations, rewrites history, and drives human migration. Which of these events had the most impact on how you think about climate and weather risk? Drop it in the comments and subscribe.